So basically, in our society today, people abuse a lot of drugs. But I'm going to be talking about this group of drugs that go the extra mile to torment those who abuse them. And that is why I, put the topic as drugs that speak to you. So there's been a video making the rounds about a popular Nigerian artist, Solid Star, and he gave a testimony. He was able to speak out about his experience with the drug ICE, otherwise known as methamphetamine. And he talked about the drug telling him, Solid Star, you are a king.
So this substance now, this sometimes say you're a king, you're a this, you're that.
Now these are what these drugs do to you. They mess with your mind. They give you a false perception of things around you. And what do we call that? We call that hallucinations. Now, basically, there are 5 types of hallucination. We have the auditory hallucinations, which have to do with what you hear. You hear these things talking to you. You hear things talking to you that are basically unreal. We have the visual hallucinations. You see things that are unreal. We have the olfactory hallucinations. You tend to smell things. You smell things. You could smell, a popular fragrance. You could smell a lot of things. Or people even smell things and they say they are smelling dead bodies and so on and so forth. We have the gustatory hallucinations, when you test things that are not real. And we also have the tactile hallucinations, otherwise known as the somatic hallucinations, where you feel a touch even if no one is touching you. Now, these drugs, they go a long way to mess with the minds of people. I remember my experience during my psychiatric posting in my 500 level medicine, and where I met this young man who abused a drug called ICE. I'm still going to call out a group of drugs, but before then, let's just, dwell on the stories. I met this young guy and he was abusing ICE, methamphetamine, and he had a story to tell me that he was God and he had the power of life in his hands. And he was so confident about it. He was crying, saying that nobody could believe him, that everybody thinks he's joking, that he has been, settling wars between different countries right from here in Nigeria, which is definitely not realistic. But these drugs tell you all these things and you believe them squarely because you are taking those drugs. Now, some examples of those drugs are methamphetamine, as I have already mentioned. We have the LSD, we have cocaine, we have heroin, we have cannabis. Now, these drugs go an extra mile to mess with your mind. And that is the reason why we frown against people taking all these drugs. Because at the end of the day, it has a lot of detrimental effects, both on them and on the society at large. That is the first step to getting psychotic. So I would advise that if you abuse any of these drugs, you have to quit. Because when it starts speaking to you, the situation is becoming critical. It's getting to a point that it's leading you to psychosis. And if you do not withdraw from these drugs, my brother or sister, then you are heading for big trouble. Drugs that speak to you. Hope you could understand 1 or 2 things from what I have said in the video. Hope you're going to let go of some bad habits. If you're used to taking ICE, it has some effects that people say that they enjoy, especially the fact that they get to stay awake for a longer period of time and they're active during that period of time. But the detriment of taking the drugs are way more than the gains of taking the drug. It's one of the most popularly abused drugs in Nigeria right now, and it is my advice to the youths and everyone who abuses the drug that they quit, because very soon it will speak to them, and when it speaks to them, it's going to lead to a worse situation. Drugs that speak to you. This is it. If you've enjoyed and if you've learned something from this video, just click the like button and subscribe to my channel, as I will be dropping more videos on different situations, especially on drug abuse and on issues related to medicine and succeeding in difficult courses. Thank you very much. I remain my humble self, Njoku Sinakachi. Do subscribe to my channel.